Why this story matters. Amid constant bad news, it's important to highlight examples of progress that rarely make the front page.
Quick summary, this story highlights recent developments related to On This Day, showing how constructive action can lead to meaningful results. 83 years ago today, the Metropolitan Opera House in New York City hosted its first ever jazz concert. A star-studded lineup of performers was acquired from around the country to bring the once discriminated musical genre to the highest echelons of American society, including Louis Armstrong, Billie Holiday, Lionel Hampton, Jack Teagarden, Mildred Bailey, and Benny Goodman. Sponsored by the National Women's Council of the Navy League of the United States, New York City papers described the musicians as performing like sober monarchs who were too sedate and perhaps awed by the fact they were playing in the tradition filled Met. Read what else the papers said. 1944 put on by Squire magazine, a all-American jazz concert raised $6 in war bonds from 2,600 attendees. It probably would never have happened if not for it being a war bond drive. The imposing Opera House never before housed such an audience, the NY Daily News reported on January 19, 1944. Just picture swinging shoulders, catcalls, squeals, screeching whistles, and a rhythmic tattoo of hands while Sir Thomas Beecham was conducting Say Rigoletto. The surprised ghosts of Caruso and others must have rattled their bones as the sound waves of this modern music beat on their eardrums. In the other world, it wrote, "Would you like to read more good news about On This Day and this day in history?" Another paper, the Billboard, ran a feature on American jazz on the front page the following week, noting how jazz music is as indigenously American as corn whiskey, and how despite the propinquity, foreign musicians, for the most part, have failed to get the hang of the beat and the licks, and only two Frenchmen, Jando Reinhardt and Stéphane Ripley, learned to swing their instruments our ways. But critics, on the other hand, speckled the old country like dotted 8 notes. More good news on this date, AA. Milne, the English author of the famous Winnie the Pooh children's books, was born in 1589. Eugene Ely landed an aircraft on a ship, the first time in history used to tail hook. 1911. The Paris Peace Conference opened in Versailles following the end of World War I, where diplomats from 30 countries and nationalities created the League of Nations, as well as the 5 peace treaties with Germany and her allies. 1917. Liberation of the Budapest ghetto by the Russian army. 1940. The Beatles made their US chart debut when I Want to Hold Your Hand became the fastest breaking single in Capitol Records history, and spent 7 weeks at Mo. 1965 was a ceasefire pact with Israel, and Egypt hastened an end to the Yom Kippur War. 1960. Martin Luther King Jr. Day was officially observed for the first time in all 50 states. 1930. Buried Aslan of Norway became the first person to cross Antarctica alone and unaided, a ski journey made with kite assistance, which also earned him the record for the fastest unsupported journey. The South Pole, taking just 5 days. 1930. In Sierra Leone, the Civil War was finally declared over. 20 into the Obama administration banned U.S. hospitals that received Medicare and Medicaid funding from prohibiting visitation rights for unmarried or gay partners of patients, designate them as loved ones. 20 Happy birthday, actor, director, producer, and musician Kevin Costner turns 69 today. His love of baseball has enriched us all through stellar films like Field of Dreams, Bull Durham, and For Love of the Game. He rose to prominence in Hollywood with his 1977 portrayal of Elliot Ness in The Untouchables, which was followed by a string of movie successes like No Way Out, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, JFK, and The Bodyguards. 2016 photo by Nasser H.Q. Aubrey Gemignani, his 1967 masterpiece Dances with Wolves, which he directed, produced, and starred in, was nominated for 12 Academy Awards and won 2 for Costner, including Best Picture, Best Director, and Adapted Screenplay. He also won 3 Golden Globes, an Emmy for his portrayal in the TV miniseries Hatfields, McCoys, and a pair of Screen Actors Guild Awards won in 2016 for playing the NASA director in Hidden Figures. In 2018, he was cast as a rancher and family patriarch in the Paramount TV drama series Yellowstone. Costner became a singer in Kevin Costner Modern West, a country rock band seen on YouTube that he founded 15 years ago with the encouragement of his wife Christine. 1957. Happy 58th birthday to Josep Pep Guardiola. Arguably the best manager in world football over the last 20 years, his tenures managing Barcelona, Bayern Munich, and Manchester City have yielded dozens of major trophies. He has produced some of the most frighteningly dominant and effective teams ever seen in British football, and his tactics and philosophy remain some of the most cutting-edge in the sport. Pep Guardiola in 2007, CCT.0 Football.ua. Born in Barcelona, Pep joined SC, Barcelona's famous football academy of La Masia at 13. Rising through the ranks in the youth team's midfield, he was eventually spotted by the coach of the senior team, the legendary Johan Cruyff. British sports journalist Phil Ball wrote about the moment a young Pep was discovered in his first week at the club. Johan Cruyff turned up unannounced at the Mini Estadi, a venue just down the road from Camp Nou used by Barcelona B. Just before halftime, he wandered into the dugout and asked Charlie Rixach, the youth team manager at the time, the name of the young lad playing on the right side of midfield.
Guardiola, good lad, came the reply.
Cruyff ignored the comment and told Rixach to move him into the middle for the second half to play as a pivot.